Right, so I don't think the situation's wrapped up in terms of the Dana White and John Jones thing. In fact, I think it's opened up Pandora's box, in my opinion, because as much as I can say a lot about John Jones, and yes, it's now come out that he's got, charges out against him, and I can say a lot about John, I think that Dana White also should shoulder some of the responsibility for the fact that this fight never happened in the first place. Because, as I said before, Dana White's relationship with John Jones is a detriment to this fight happening. Absolutely. Because we all know that they've had a tumultuous history, and Dana White in general, when he has a bad history, someone in the sport, as many great things as he's been able to do, we also know what happens when he gets his feelings hurt. Look what he did with Tito Ortiz, and yes, Tito is a muppet, but then look at George St. Pierre. George St. Pierre was the greatest ambassador he had ever had for the sport, inside the cage and outside of the cage, with the way that he carried himself. And when George handed back the welterweight belt, Dana buried him to the meat. Who remembers that press conference where Dana's like, who here thinks that George won this fight, okay? Who here thinks he won this fight? He's not retiring. He owes it to the belt. He owes it to the sport. He owes it to the fans. He buried him. He won't give you the fights you want to see. Said the same thing about Fedor. And yes, there was some murky business there with Fedor and M1 Global and the shared partnership. But at the same time, do you honestly think the man's going to want to fight for you and give you the great Brock Lesnar fight that we could have had when you're going around burying and trashing him? And then also, when you do that to the fans who aren't too familiar with someone like a Fedor, you're basically saying, well, this guy's a crap fighter, our guy's going to beat him anyways. Like, you're kind of hurting your own business doing that, in my opinion. So I'm not surprised. And now, with all this being said, with everything that's just happened, with the fact that he's had to do a press conference to announce that John is retiring, and now one of the biggest heavyweight fights he could have ever hoped to have had in the history of his company isn't happening, with these charges against John Jones that he knows about, he then has the cheek to sit there and bury Francis Ngannou. Are you kidding me? Dana is in no position to bury Ngannou, especially after this. In fact, if anything, you might want to be calling Ngannou right now, because you need some star power, because your promotion is completely star depleted at this point. Let's just face it. Do you know what? Dana sounds like some of my ex-girlfriends from secondary school. That's what he sounds like. So how do people feel about this? Do people feel that Dana should shoulder some of the responsibility? Let me know. Comment down below.